Hi, my name's Demara, and I'm going to be reading to you today the Truth Testament number 20. Before I do so, let's have a look at the card that was picked today for Starseed activation. And this is an amazing card because it's perspective. And what a huge concept. And I'm just going to read the words on that. None of this matters. Zoom out. Common ground. And I did an interesting thing with this card before I started the video. I already put it onto a short onto the channel. And what I did was went really close to that tiny little Earth there in outer space and then pulled the vision back so that we could see it so far away. And it was an interesting thing to do because it gives you that total different perspective at that point where it shows you that there's so much else going on. And reading the part of the perspective card, the Starseed activation card, in the little booklet, it said, Earth doesn't need us, we need Earth. And then talked about how we put up fences, boundaries, limitations on lots of things. And that what we need to do is to take our perspective out, come away from the detail, and then look at the bigger picture, and then find common ground. And it's a really interesting thing to do yourself, but have a look at the short because that really does make it available, the whole concept of it there. So let's get down to Truth Testament number 20. And this was given in January of this year. And at the time, just before number 20, they gave me number 19, which was all about the higher beings having to come into the Earth area, which they don't do that often for a mission like this, but they explain to us. And that video number 19, Truth Testament number 19, is already up on the channel. But this one is the one after that, where they're talking to us about whether they were successful or not, clearing the energy from around the North Pole. So number 19 is a really interesting one to go back to as well. But let's hear what they're saying here now. We are here to tell you that our mission was successful, although it was delayed until later than we had estimated. We are pleased to say that our efforts to free the energy blockages around the North Pole was very successful. The energy there is very important for the whole planet of the Earth, as this energy is the vortex energy generator and has a huge impact on energy waves which circulate the Earth. By freeing this energy, you will experience a lightness in the air, more so than you have experienced recently. This lightness is an indication that the higher frequencies are now circulating freely and will be of use to you as you engage within the higher parts of your nature. And that's an interesting piece, isn't it? Because since January, this was the end of January actually, when this message number 20 was given. And since then, the energy frequencies are just on steroids. I mean, I think everybody's noticing it who has any sensitivity to the energy fields around them or within them at all. I mean, some people don't. Some people live a very dense existence, but most people now are aware more of the energy and the fact that it's got higher. I will continue. During this escapade, we were aware of many different situations which are occurring around your planet. We did not know of the great gulf of energy that had dammed up the areas around the main lines of China. These are very corrupt and are causing such a barrage of blocked, dirty energy lines, which then lead out all around the world. All of these energy lines are concentric circles which circulate the energy that allows you to live on your planet. Yes, you ingest food and drink water, but supremely, you are the original energy beings. This means that your energy is the most important thing to your survival, not food and water. As you already may know, many now on your planet are living without food or water, since they have reconnected with the supreme knowledge that this is how you can live and excel at living this way. It's not a phenomena, it's a truth, a holy truth, that you are beings of light and energy, not of food and drink. I'm just going to interrupt again here because I didn't realize this piece was in this particular Truth Testament, but I did a couple of days ago. I put a video up where I'm talking about afterwards. I'm talking about the fact that I did the breatharian workshop, and in order to be able to know that I could at any point live without food and water. And it was an amazing experience, and there was no difficulty about it. It was just a matter of keying into the fact that if we consciously breathe, we're breathing at a different consumption level of light and consciousness and energy. And that we did just in a few sessions each day. We did conscious breathing, and that was the only difference. Apart from maybe a few yoga postures and things like that, just to keep people energized. But my energy was really high throughout the whole 8 days. And I was saying in the video a couple of days ago that there are thousands all over the planet now that are actually living breatharian. I did it in order to see whether I could do it and what that process meant, so that I could in the future, if I needed to, go over to that. But there were at least 100 people on the webinar that went on for 8 days, 3 times a day. We all connected all across the world. So there were 100 on that. And this was, I think it was 2018 when I did it. So now there's going to be even more people. But I'd forgotten that they made a reference to this again in this Truth Testament. Okay, let's continue. We shock many of you, but also we confirm to many of you who already know of these truths. We cannot stay apart from the truth. It is why we are in contact with you in the first place. It is because of you that we ever venture out of our own realms and into yours. We do not always fare well when we do so, but we come to pay our respects and assist your passage through to the next stage of your evolutions. We come freely and we deal truthfully with you and for you. It is our way. It is our truth and our forbearance that we will take care of you without assaulting your free will always. We have much more pre-warning information to give to you. As always, we give this with love, but do not apologize for these warnings. These warnings are to help save more of humanity so that a larger proportion of the collective goes forward when these cleansing happenings are over and the world you know is changed forever. Our solution to these happenings for you are that you are intuiting these happenings in your own way. But first we give you some indications as to where the next cleansings will occur, as we have already given to you in the warning of the weather front approaching and devastating much of the lands of the US. It is a cleansing of the land so that the energy is shaken around and the matrix of the energy is cleansed and shaken around into a more stabilized form. This can happen with water, very strong bursts of air, and through fire. So we use these elements in order to assist your awakenings, as these energies free you from the old corrupt energies of your past and your programming. It is upon you now, therefore we need you at the peak of your intuitions and high-level responses. You can respond when you hear your callings. These callings will be part of your survival plans. You can hear with inside yourselves, not from outside. There will be many who were not in California when the rains came down. Many of these were told not to be there. They may not have known why, but they fortunately left before the onslaught. I'm just going to interrupt again. There's never been so many interruptions in one of the readings of these Truth Testaments, but it's reminded me that in October, we had a Truth Testament come through in October 2022, warning us of the weather front that was going across the United States. And this was given way in advance so that people could prepare. Okay, back to the script here. Believe in yourselves. This is the most important thing. But also that you cannot hear yourselves when you are listening online or around you to the ongoing noise distractions, which contain very little real knowing. We must say that there are some of you who have sat up, woken up, and are now very actively looking for owning your own survivals and that of your families, and are actively meditating again and slowing down your lifestyles so that you are available for knowing and receiving. Our next warning is for the south of France, which has had many incidents in the past, but is about to receive one of the biggest of all. There will be many fronts which appear again as if by surprise. These are coming up through Spain, touching Portugal, and indeed some parts of the enclaves around the southern borders of Iran and India. These may seem like unconnected borders, but now see these as circular energy lines which go around the earth mass. We also must say at this point that many of the ideas of the earth mass are incorrect, and therefore give you strange ideas of what and how countries are connected to one another. If you look at a map of the continents, you will be able to fathom how these countries are in fact connected by energy lines, not just weather patterns. So everything is connected on a much more powerful level than any of your weather reporters will know, unless they begin to wake up to the almighty energy connections, which are always present and not really at the moment taken into account. None of this is a problem. These are all cleansing cycles which are required to allow free-flowing higher energy around your Earth spaces. Nothing happens by chance. It is all guided by geometric concentric circles, which are a grid of energy lines and will never be anything different. The currents that travel these lines can change, but not the lines themselves. Once you have comprehended the enormity of these concentric circles, you will then be able to predict yourself how the next lines might affect your own lines as the cleansing goes forward into your time. As we have said before, time is not our avenue of experience, and soon it will not be yours also. We can speak more of time next time we present to you, but for now we say, be yourselves in the highest form of that you can present right now, and make sure that your actions are coming from that place. In order to keep into this practice, it is imperative that you slow down the outside chatter, and at this time focus on your internal whisperings. These whisperings will become louder as you put much more of your attention on them. Again, it is all about energy and energy focus. As you focus on them, they become louder. We speak now for all of you. There are no people that cannot open up now to their inner whisperings. These are your warning systems connected to who you really are. Be quiet, be still, and make sure that you give quality time to your whisperings inside. And thank you for listening to that. I'm just going to say here again that they've talked many times about these concentric circles, which are not plotted and are not given to us in our education system. And as far as I know, have never really been investigated. But throughout all the channeling since 1991, I have received, and sometimes they give me, I have pieces that I've never even given out that are not in the first two books either, because they started to try and give me all the coordinates for these energy circles, and it was very difficult for me to take them down. I was still a very novice channeler at the time in 1991. But I've always wanted somebody to pick up on this and go through at least the truth testaments and start to see what they're talking about, because in a couple of them, I can't remember which numbers now, they have given where these circles stretch from and go round. And somebody could plot these, because we then could have a much more accurate weather forecasting, and even it probably relates to earthquakes, volcanic lines, you know, one earthquake leading to the next, which there are people out there like Dutch Sense, who is on YouTube, and I do watch his warnings, but he is just saying, well, there is this energy that comes through. He has never related it to circular. He relates it to the plates. But this goes beyond the plates as far as I can understand. But I don't have that sort of methodical mind to be able to map all this, or I haven't done so far. Maybe I'll be asked to, but I hope not. I hope somebody else comes forward to do that, because there are better ways for us to know when to get out of the way, you know, and forewarning. I mean, forewarned is forearmed, which was a phrase that they gave, oh my goodness, so many times in the first book that I channeled, which was all about earth changes. That first book called Advent Calendar for the Salvation of the Planet Earth, which somehow, by synchronicity, fate, destiny, or whatever, is still available on the internet, even though it has nothing to do with me. I certainly don't get royalties from it. And the publisher that I had at the time retired, actually, and passed the company over to somebody else who didn't republish. But those books are still there. I see it every time I go onto Amazon.com. They're still available. It's crazy. But it's a good crazy. I don't mind that I don't get paid for it. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's just out there and it is still available. And that was very complex on these energy lines, giving all sorts of places that would come next after one place was hit by earthquakes or volcano pathways, where one release of energy, which is all happening from underneath in the lava, is then connected to the next volcano, which you see go off. And if you ever do any tracking of that, it's absolutely fascinating. Tracking how many are going off at the moment in the world. It's usually about, it can go up to about 50 from what I've seen, 40 or 50 volcanoes, all still active. And it would be interesting for somebody to get plotting all of this. Anyway, I digress. Please subscribe and please like the video if it's given you anything that is important for you to know, because we really do need to get these going out and being available to other people. And they don't come up on the feeds unless you get a certain number of subscribers and people who like the videos and comment. So please help out there, because I'm doing the best I can here, recording all these videos and still channeling the new batch of videos or new scripts, which are called the sacred texts. So that would help me out and help the world out. Thank you for listening.